Hi guys, Robbo46 here. Welcome yourselves to a brand new video, which is me talking about the 10 improvements that I believe we need for MotoGP 22. Now, just before we begin, these aren't in any particular order, so they're not in order of preference or importance or anything. But I'm going to be counting down from 10 to 1. And also, these are my personal opinions as well. If you want to add yours down in the comments, feel free to. So, let's get on and start at number 10. So number 10 is asymmetric tyres or proper asymmetric tyres. I know we've got asymmetric tyre wear in the games, but what I'm on about is when you get to races like Phillip Island, which is predominantly a left-handed circuit, or if you go to somewhere like Red Bull Ring, which is more a right-handed circuit, in the game, because you know the tyres are the same compound across the sections of the tyres, you will wear out, or you do wear out one side of the tyre more than the other. And especially Phillip Island, like, you can wear out the left hand side of the tyre within 2 laps, no matter what compound you use. So they don't last the race distance. So obviously in real life, when they go to a track like that, they tend to have a harder compound on one side of the tyre and a softer compound on the other side. So for like Red Bull Ring, they have a harder compound on the right hand side of the tyre and a softer compound on the left hand side. So when they get to the very rare left handers that they have at Red Bull Ring, the tyre hasn't lost too much heat and can grip better. So proper asymmetric tyres for MotoGP 22 would be a very nice addition, I would think. Number 9, they really messed this up with MotoGP 21, is kerbs. They really need to sort out the kerbs in MotoGP 22. They're fine on Ride 4. They've been fine on previous MotoGP games. Well, they haven't really. But MotoGP 21, they seem to be worse than ever. I think MotoGP 20, they're okay. MotoGP 21, they were a bit too harsh. You go on the curb, you lose drive, you can't brake on a curb and tip, and you see them in real life, you know, like Catalonia going into the final corner. They're on the far left of the track braking and then tipping into the final corner while still on the curb, the outside curb. So they are used in real life. But you try and use them in MotoGP 21, you spin up the rear, the suspension just bounces all over the place, and you lose so much drive using them, so you can't actually utilise them as you would in real life, which is a shame. And also, the curb coming out of the final corner at Red Bull Ring is actually painted onto the track in real life, but in MotoGP 21, they've made it a real curb, so that also needs to be sorted. But yeah, curbs have been a massive hindrance in MotoGP 21 and really needs sorted for 22. Number 8 is the sound. Now, the sound of the bikes in MotoGP games over the years has improved. It's been improving year by year. The difference between 20 and 21 isn't massive, just subtle changes. But again, you know, the sound is something that can always be improved, and would be nice to have them, you know, sounding more aggressive like they do in real life. And, you know, just getting the correct bike notes and engine notes for each distinct bike. I think, you know, if they can improve that, then that will heighten the experience for people playing the game altogether. So over to number 7. Number 7 is improved physics. Now, you know, physics is always something they can tweak. I don't think that the physics on MotoGP 21 were too bad at all. I know that some people still don't like the braking when the rear comes up in the air, but you know, under heavy braking, that does happen in real life. Yeah, maybe not to the extent that it does in the game. But once you've kind of figured out how to brake and to stop that rear come up in the air, it's actually fine. You just need to kind of get your technique down. So, yeah, maybe improve braking it a little bit. But yeah, the physics as a whole. I know that they worked on suspension for 21, and maybe that is why the curbs were so harsh, because of the new suspension model. But yeah, if they can just tweak the physics again. But what I don't want to see them do is bring out physics which feel really good and then change them again a bit later because people are finding it too hard. You know, there are the rider aids to help people new to the game and new to the series, so you know, just bring out the physics. Yes, if you know the majority of people are complaining that they don't feel very good, then yeah, by all means tweak them. But you know, if it's just people finding them too hard, then you know it's not really something that needs to be fixed. But we'll see what they come out with for 2022. Number 6 is, well, it's kind of 2, but they kind of fit into the same category, which is dynamic weather and flag-to-flag races. So, you know, we've had it in Ride 4 with endurance races where, you know, you start the race, it's dry, and then it starts raining, so you have to go into the pit, change your tyres, top up on fuel. Obviously, they don't top up on fuel in MotoGP. They do a complete bike swap. So they've kind of got the premise there already. They just need to utilise it more in a MotoGP friendly way. So if it starts raining in a race, you can pit. Obviously, you would need the white flag to come out to say that you can come in to change bike, and then go into the pit, and then swap bikes to a bike with wet setup and wet tyres on, and then go back out. Also with that, it would be quite nice to almost do like a Brad Binder, so you could kind of risk it if you wanted to and try and stay out on slicks for as long as possible. Or if it starts off as a wet track, which then dries, which we kind of have already. You know, you start a wet track race, and over the course of the race you get a dry line appearing. You know, let's come into the pit and change to slicks. That would be good to do. So yeah, it's, you know, something that people have been asking for the last few years. I know that we don't get flag-to-flag races that often, but it would be nice to have them in the game. And also, I know that when MotoGP 21 first came out, there was more wet races than dry races, which was really frustrating. So if they could kind of get it, you know, in real life we tend to have more dry races than wet races. They have sorted it on MotoGP 21 now, but yeah, just don't give us a shed load of wet races for one season. So number 5 is improved bike recovery. So by this I mean, you know, the bike recovery in MotoGP 21 was a bit weird. I mean, first of all, when you crashed, you know, it was kind of the onboard camera of the bike crashing, and then there was a cut that then went to your rider, and then you went and picked your bike up, then there was another cut of them getting back on and carrying on. So that they could do away with the cuts, and maybe just follow the rider in the crash, and then you see an animation of your rider getting up, and then maybe make them run a little bit quicker. It does seem a little bit leisurely. I know they've got their full rider gear on, but they, you know, you look at Marc Marquez, you know, you watch him run sometimes when he's just had a crash, and he does run pretty quick. So yeah, if that could be improved. Also, you know, they need to make it so that the AI do it as well. Because if you've got it turned on, then all it's going to do is hinder you as a player and give an advantage to the AI, because they don't do this. They don't crash, get up and pick their bike up. I don't know whether that's because they're trying to, you know, you don't then see the cuts in between the animations. So maybe they couldn't do it for that reason. But, you know, they crash at the moment and then they just respawn after, you know, a couple of seconds and don't lose too much time. So yeah, if the AI could do it as well, that would make it more fair, because at the moment I've got it turned off completely, because what's the point if it's just you doing it? Okay, on to number 4. Now this is overall improved AI. When MotoGP 21 first came out, the AI were atrocious. They were cutting corners, they were all crashing at the same corner. And I had a race at Sachsenring in Moto 3 when there was a 15 bike pile-up at Sachsen Curve, which is the second to last corner of the circuit. And just everyone went down. Everyone went down. I've had it in MotoGP where there's been less than 15 people finishing. It's bizarre. I don't know why that happens, but, you know, it's meant to be learning AI, but they don't seem to learn. They just seem to carry on and cut corners, and it did kind of ruin the experience, especially when the game first came out, because you could actually have some decent battles, but you get to a certain corner and then they all crash, and it's just like, oh, well, that's that gone then. Not quite in the points. We nearly are. Oh! What just happened there? And you're kind of almost guaranteed to win at certain tracks, which, yeah, they have kind of sorted it somewhat, but you still get the occasional race where a lot of the AI crash. So, yeah, they need to kind of fix that. Have it more true to life as well. So over the course of the season, bring out some updates so that they finish, in the positions they finished in real life. That would be pretty good. So, after a race weekend, they then put out an update to either, enhance one of the AIs. So say someone like, I don't know, Mir gets a good race result, gets on the podium, update that certain track and, boost Mir's performance so that he ends up on the podium. I know obviously you as the player can kind of have some sort of influence over that, because if you end up on the podium, obviously you're going to knock someone off. So yeah, just have it more true to life and update it over the course of the year so that the AI finish in more true to life positions. Also, they need to abide by the same laws of physics as the player. Now, I spoke briefly about wet races earlier. MotoGP 21, the grip that the AI have in wet races is ridiculous. I've had a race recently where it was at Mugello, actually. It was a wet track race, and I overtook Rins, and then Petrucci just blasted past like I was stood still. It was bizarre. It does get quite frustrating. Obviously they need to have tyre wear as well, because it just seems occasionally you'll get one of the AI that experiences tyre wear, not all of them. And sometimes you can see them on soft tyres where you as the player can't use the soft tyres in a race, even though the game is suggesting them for you, because they don't even last a lap, yet the AI can use them for the whole race and they're absolutely fine. So they need to definitely abide by the same laws of physics and tyre wear as the player. And also they need to do the long lap penalty, because like I said, when they cut corners and that, they don't get any warnings and they don't get a long lap penalty yet. Obviously if the player does it 5 times, they get a long lap penalty. So I think if the AI start cutting corners, they need to then have a long lap penalty to serve, and they have to do it like the player would. Okay, number three is improved damage. Damage kind of took a bit of a back seat in MotoGP 21. I know in previous MotoGP games that the winglets have been quite fragile and they could come off just from, basically rubbing past someone. But now it seems like you need to have quite a fast crash for them to come off your bike. It would be nice to have realistic damage so that your bike could literally, if it catapults itself into a tyre wall or something, it just destroys itself. I know that obviously that's more down to the manufacturers not really wanting their machines to be damaged or completely broken in a game, but it would be nice to have more realistic damage, some mechanical elements as well. Mechanical failures is definitely, it's not been in the game for quite a long time now. I know it was more random and it could be a little bit annoying, but yeah, it would be good to see mechanical failures come back as well, because it does happen. It is more rare nowadays, but it still happens. Okay, so number 2 is going to be better online. Online is a bit hit and miss. Sometimes the connection is not great, even though they're meant to have dedicated servers. It does tend to kick people as well. It's really weird, especially when you do something like race director mode, because the game gets confused, because you can have more people in race director mode. So you can have the race director and potentially you can have then 12 people racing, but the game gets confused because technically the limit is 12. So it then kicks someone because it thinks that the race director is racing. And I had this, in some league races where I basically have to go, okay, well, I'm going to have 11 people racing in the league and 12 is me as a race director. So it does confuse itself sometimes. Would be nice to have less lag, and it's definitely not lag free at the moment, so that would be good. But obviously that comes down to people's personal connections as well. Maybe more people online, but then, you know, if they can't handle 12 at the moment, then don't put too many more people in if it's not going to be able to be handled. I know that obviously in other games you can have more than 12, but yeah, it just needs to be, you know, a better experience online altogether. And number 1 is a better career, including multiple seasons. So I know that the way that Milestone's contract with Dorna works, they can't have rider transfers. So they can't have, you know, say Fabio Quartararo moving to Ducati in a season or something like that. They don't allow that to happen. But what they could have is set career over multiple seasons and have those seasons riders in the game. So say you start your career in, I don't know, 2017, and then you can then go up to and include in 2020. So you got 5 seasons worth of seasons in career mode. And it would be good if they got all the riders and bikes from, you know, 2017 onwards to 2020. And then a bit like what they've done in SBK Generations, where they had, you know, multiple seasons, you would then see riders progress up the classes. You'd see them change teams as well, like they did in real life. And I think that's kind of one way they can get around doing the rider transfers. As long as they're doing the real life transfers, I don't see why there would be a problem with that. Also, it would be nice to have a teammate again in the custom team. For some reason, they took that out. When they very first introduced managerial career, you could have a teammate alongside you, but for some reason the last couple of games you couldn't. It was literally just you as the rider, so it will be nice to have a teammate in the managerial team. We got a couple of bonus points as well. The use of the whole shot device, I know they kind of implemented it in the game, but only at the start. But obviously, as we know now, a lot of the teams and riders use the rear whole shot device during a race to squat the bike down to get better corner exits. So it would be nice to be able to use that yourself in a race. And yeah, just be able to choose when you do it, and maybe obviously going to the grid as well. You're the one that initiates it. The other thing as well, obviously Valentino Rossi has now retired. I know that we had a Valentino Rossi game a few years ago. It'd be nice if there was a sort of Valentino Rossi mode in 2022, which kind of, I guess, a little bit like the Valentino Rossi game. It kind of gets you to play through his most important races of the season. Maybe replace historic mode this year with that. And yeah, go from, you know, his historic rides in 125, 250 up to 500s and into the MotoGP era. I think that would be quite a nice addition. Obviously, quite a nice send off for the legend as well. So yeah, that is everything from me, guys. Like I said, if there's anything that you would like to see added into MotoGP 2020 that 2022, that I've not already spoken about, feel free to mention them down in the comments. But anyway, guys, that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel for more content. I shall see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to stay safe, watch out, look after yourselves. See you guys next time. See you.